Mic check 1 2. So if you've been ordering games from GameStop's website, or even if you've been shopping at their store, you might have noticed something about their disc-based games, and that's probably the fact that you're seeing more and more complete in-box copies of games than you've seen in the past. For a while, GameStop was notorious for selling you disc-based games with only the disc coming in this yellow envelope, or sometimes if they had a spare generic GameStop case, then you would get the game in that generic case. But what I'm seeing more and more is that when you order a game from GameStop.com that is a disc based game, or even if you go into a GameStop store looking for those types of games, 9 times out of 10, you're going to find those games complete in box. And I think that there's a reason why. Now, I've been noticing a practice happening at different GameStops, uh, probably within my tri-state area, and I've seen this happen a few times, and I'm not sure if this is a company-wide practice, if this is something that GameStop at the corporate level has asked all of their employees to do, or if this is something that's just been happening locally, within my area. And what that is that whenever you do happen to buy a GameStop game that is complete in box in store, or even if the game isn't complete in box, but it at least has the case, what I'm starting to see GameStop employees do is they're actually notating that down on your receipt. So if you do happen to buy, let's say, 5 games, 2 of them are complete in box, 2 of them only have the case and no manual, and let's say one of them is just the game only. Well, what the GameStop employee is going to do is actually going to note that down next to each game that you buy. Now, I don't know if this is something that they're doing for all games, if they're only doing it for pre-owned games, or if they're only doing it for retro games. Now, I've only seen this happen in the case of retro games. I have not seen a GameStop employee mark down complete in box on Switch games that come complete, or PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5 games that come complete. But when it comes to PlayStation 3, Wii U, Xbox 360, Wii, different consoles that are older, if the game is complete, they're actually notating that down on the receipt. My assumption with that is they're doing that so that in the event you do decide to return that game to a store, or that store in particular, they'll be able to know if you bought the game complete in box or not. Now, I think that this is kind of stupid if it's not a practice that all GameStops are employing, primarily because let's say you take that game to a different GameStop and return it there. If that store isn't following that same practice, well, then those markings on the receipt aren't really going to mean much to the person returning the game. They're just going to return it either way, especially if the store that you're returning those games to isn't a GameStop retro store. They're just going to take the games back, put them in the case or put them in the drawer, and ship them off to the nearest retro GameStop store. So my point is that if that is a practice, one, it's something that they're gonna probably need to do company wide. And two, there has to be more efficient ways of doing that. Now, this right here is a prime example of what I mean when I say that sometimes different stores go rogue and decide to do their own thing. I don't know why a store would decide to mark if a game is complete or not, um, when other stores aren't doing it. Also, if GameStop reserves the right to sell a game as a loose disc for the same price as they would complete in box, what difference does it make? Like, is GameStop trying to say that they won't take a game back that's loose disc if when it was sold complete in box? I think this practice is hasn't been thought through properly, and isn't I don't think it's being done across the board. And these are some of the little things that I think cause people to get really annoyed at GameStop, especially again, if this is not a practice that's being done across the board. Now, personally, in my opinion, if a game is being sold complete in box, that should already be indicated when you're scanning the game. Like when you're scanning the queue, when you're scanning the barcode, if the game is complete in box, that should already be notated. Why someone would have to go and manually write that on a receipt seems pretty elementary to me. And I think the same goes for their website. If people who are shopping on GameStop.com knew in advance whether or not a game was disc only, disc and case only or complete in box, it would make a huge difference on whether or not people decided to purchase certain games. And then this manual underwriting of completeness of games wouldn't need to occur at the point of sale at a cash register. Nevertheless, if this is something that GameStop decides to do at a corporate level, as a collector, it does mean something good. It means that you'll probably wind up seeing more complete in box games being sold at GameStop as opposed to disc based games. And it could also be an indicator that GameStop is now starting to take the condition of the games that they sell a lot more seriously. But again, this only makes sense if A, it's being done across the board at all GameStops, and B, if it's being done at the most efficient level, which in my opinion, and I think most would agree, would be to indicate that through the SKU when you scan the game, not writing it down on a receipt, which can be misinterpreted, which can be scratched out, which could be a whole lot of things. To me, marking something like that down in pen is really stupid because anybody could come with another pen and just mark over it or change the writing. I don't think that this was really thought through too well with how I've seen certain GameStop stores doing it, but I'm sure that this is probably some anal manager deciding that they want to deploy their own practice, which has not been approved or announced by GameStop at a corporate level. And it's moves like this that I think really draw people away from GameStop. I see the good in it and I also see the bad in it. The good in it is that it does mean that there will be more complete in box games for collectors to purchase and for gamers to purchase. But I think that this would be a lot more useful to people who decide to purchase their games from GameStop on from their website. That's where I think this would make more sense. Part one and part two, the completeness of a game should be indicated before purchase, not after, right? Like I didn't see them I don't see them marking that down for disc only games. But I guess cases are starting to matter and maybe this is also their way of preventing people from taking cases. Who knows what the case may be? No pun intended. But I do think that it is a very strange thing. Let me know if you've seen something like this happen at a GameStop near you. I'm really interested to know if this is something that's just happening, in the tri-state area in the Northeast, or if this is something that's also happening in California, in the South, in the Midwest, or any other territory where GameStop stores are located. I do see the positive in this. I do see how it could mean more complete disc-based games for buyers, but I could also see how this could create a big cluster F in the case of returns and different things like that, where people order games from GameStop's website, the game comes in a disc-only format, but a store refuses to accept a return because the game isn't complete. Let me know what you think in the comments down below, and I'll catch you in the next video. It's the Y2K Collector. Take it easy.